will take the court with the Heat making a trip to LA to take on the Clippers. The Clippers are in the midst of their best stretch of the season, Brendan. What I mean by that is they've won 8 of their last 10.
All right.
Seems like the chemistry is coming together. Is it just a matter of time before we saw them playing at this level? Because we know some of the defensive struggles they've had throughout the course of the season.
Well, we know the Clippers really haven't had their full team for a bunch of games. When you look at the course of the season, how many games have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George all been out there together? Only a handful of games. Yeah. So now they're starting to gel. They're starting to get everybody back. And the more and more these guys play together, the more comfortable they're going to get, realizing, okay, when's it your turn, my turn? They're going to become more of a cohesive unit. And what's scary about the Clippers is they're number 2 in the Western Conference right now. When those guys take that next step, watch out.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, Chris, because having a few of their games and being up close and hearing Paul George and Kawhi both say, we've come here because of Montrezl Harrell, because of Lou Williams, because of what they do on the bench. And it was a game that Lou Williams is going off for 40, and Kawhi's like, no, let Lou Williams finish the game. Brendan, it was such a lesson to hear that 2 superstar players can say, you know what, we got another guy that's a superstar too that comes off the bench and he has a running mate, and when they both are rolling, we have no problem taking the back seat for the bigger picture, which is trying to win a championship. To Brendan's point, once they get on the same page and understand each other's nuances, it's going to be fun to watch when the playoffs get here.
3D, you talk about wings in this game. I mean, Kawhi Leonard, Jimmy, Butler, Paul George. I mean, the creme de la creme. But Butler, last time we saw him, 38 points in 3 quarters against his former team, the Philadelphia 76ers. There seems to be a different level he's at right now in the sense of picking his spots to do what he wants to do.
Brendan, you'll love this. We were kind of debating which team would have the Super Bowl flu, right?
Right.
So we saw Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid hanging out with some of their friends. You saw Jimmy Butler maybe a little bit on social media. Jimmy said, no, I knew everybody was going to be watching me close. I had to make sure I had a good game. Secondly, we saw how Jimmy left Chicago. We saw the short stint in Minnesota, and we saw the short stint in Philly. People question his leadership. So talking to Jimmy on camera and off camera, he says, man, this is why I came here. The culture speaks for itself. They keep everyone accountable, and everyone's really sharing and caring, because for Miami Heat to be in the 4th seed and the way they're scoring the basketball defensively, I'm not worried. I'm not surprised at that, because Coach Spoelstra is going to make sure you play defense. But the way these rookies and the way they're sharing, and Bam's an all-star, it's fun to watch up close.
Yeah, it's very fun to watch. Miami, the culture has definitely been set, and that's what Jimmy Butler loved, because the culture was set by Pat Riley a long time before he got there.
Right.
Everybody, no matter who you are, has to fit into that culture, and if you don't fit in, they'll get you out of there really, really quickly. So I think it's a match made in heaven, because Jimmy Butler brings a certain type of toughness. Pat Riley has always been a tough guy as well. That's why it works out. And when I look at this Miami team, I love where Bam is. I love the young guys they have. The only question I have for this young team is, 3D, can they start winning some more games on the road? This team is a 500 team when they play on the road, a lot better at home. If you're going to be a team that wins playoff games, you got to find a way to win one of those 2 games on the road. When the whole crowd's against you and you got to bring your own energy, you're going to have to be able to do it. That's the next step for this Miami team. Down the stretch, after the All-Star break, they should be focusing on winning road games.
You know, Brendan, what's interesting about that is when you say that and I look at them and watch how they play, I think, wow, Bam Adebayo, an all-star in his first season as a starter. For them to be able to do that, I think there's another level he can get to, but he plays essentially like this point center position in their offense, initiating it from about the elbow around there. You see it here, Brendan, with the spin move and a finish with the left hand. Explain what that does for their offense and how dynamic they are. I mean, he's shooting almost 60% from the field and 5 assists.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you talk about assists for a big man, a lot of people think about the Joker, but don't sleep on Bam. They use him a lot as far as dribble handoffs, finding guys back door when they reverse off of the dribble handoff as well. And then Bam has also improved his game to where he can now get down the lane. He has a nice 15-foot jumper, a floater as well. So Bam offers this team a lot of different layers and a lot of different dynamics. He can finish at the rim. He can go get his own shot off the dribble. Pretty good free throw shooter, gives you some rim protection. But the most important thing for Bam is not on that stat sheet. It's not rebounds, points, assists, or any of that. His motor. He plays hard night in and night out.
There it is.
If Bam can be 3 for 13 from the field, and you'll say, man, this guy really still had a huge impact on how this game was dictated or how they won the game, because he went out there and rebounded. He went out there and played hard. When I watched them play against the 76ers, he was just beating Joel Embiid because he was playing hard. Now, Joel had a good night, but when you watch the game, you're like, man, it looks like Bam is running circles around him at times. So when you look at a guy that brings that much energy to the game, and his teammates respect it, and now he's an all-star, you already know what type of trajectory this Miami Heat team is going to be on.
Chris, real quick, when you walk around the Miami arena and you hear people calling him Baby Zoe, and I was like, wait a minute, huh? And I said, oh, never mind. I see where they're going. Because he works his tail off. And everyone knows Alonzo Mourning is the hardest working Miami Heat ever. So if you get compared to that, ooh, my goodness, you putting in some work.
Ooh, Baby Zoe?
Yeah,
Hey, Zoe was a bad boy now.
But remember how hard Zoe would run through a wall.
What?
And they say that's when you watch Bam in practice, after practice, in the weight room, first one to the gym, last one to leave, before the game, he's out there working. I was like, oh, okay, I see it now. And he's an all-star now because he puts in the work.
I get the message for all the young viewers watching this. Put in the work if you want to see the results, all right? D'Angelo Russell and the Golden State Warriors ending a 5-game road trip, and they're averaging 31 assists during that road trip so far. Let's see if they keep sharing the ball against the Brooklyn Nets. You're watching the warm-up presented by Ford.
Yeah.
Sekou Smith have you covered. We had our most complicated trade of the season so far. We should also mention this has not been finalized. So according to our very own Jared Greenberg, some of the players and picks involved are subject to change. What we do know is that the 4 teams that are involved, the Houston Rockets sent away their starting center from the past 4 seasons. Clint Capella, who's just 25 years young. The Timberwolves shipped 2018 first-team all-defense member Robert Covington to Houston. And the Rockets, well, they've been playing P.J. Tucker at center.
Oh, boy.
And it seems like
Jordan Bell, go be playing some center, Jordan Bell.
small ball is now something that they have to rely upon. Let's welcome in Tom Penn to our show, former VP of basketball operations for the Portland Trailblazers. Okay, so when we look at Houston and what they did, it just seems logical that it's like, okay, another move is coming, right?
Totally crazy, right? This roster is so imbalanced. Have you seen one like this in any version of the NBA, including the modern NBA?
Maybe in the Drew League.
Yeah, right.
That's about it.
That's right.
That's where Houston's headed. They keep this up.
But they double down on yet another perimeter player, and he's on 3-year deal, 11, 12, 13 million. So they're locked into this team, and what's curious about it to me is we don't know if Mike D'Antoni's there long term, right? So you're not committed to this style of play from a coaching perspective. Look, Covington's a good player. He was one of the better gets on the trade market, but for this team, it doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, I don't really understand what's going on here. When you look at the landscape of the Western Conference, if you play the Clippers, you're still going to have to deal with Montrezl Harrell inside. If you play Denver in the playoffs, you're going to have to deal with the Joker. And if you play the Lakers, you got that guy Anthony Davis. He's pretty good, right, 3D?
No, he's pretty good.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why you would get rid of somebody like Clint Capella, who's averaging 14 points per game along with 14 rebounds. But then on top of that, he gives you shot protection at the rim. He's able to switch the pick and roll and move his feet on the perimeter. And he's on a below market value deal. Now, I know it's a big number, but 16 million, I think 17, 18, he doesn't make over 20 million on any time, any year of this deal. I think this was a great guy to have. 25 years old on a below market value deal. You keep Clint Capella and maybe you try to find another wing player at a lower value. But I don't really understand what Houston's doing right now. Maybe they have something else in the works. Maybe they're trying to get Tristan Thompson. I don't know. But right now, I'm a little bit dumbfounded by this trade by Daryl Morey because I don't think he's giving his team the best chance to win a championship.
Yeah, I think it has to be something else up their sleeve, guys. Because are we saying that they're going to put Jordan Bell because he had a little bit of experience in Golden State to play the 5, which we know that didn't work out well either. So if you're saying to yourself, if you really want to come out of the West or just compete in the West, there has to be another deal. Because the only 7-footer they have is Hartenstein off the bench, who plays sparing minutes now. You're saying you're going to go try to fight the Clippers, the Lakers, Denver, in the West with that short lineup. I don't see how you do it. And to your point, Ken Capella outside of Steven Adams probably your best pick guy from a 5 position to get James Harden and Russell Westbrook opening the pick and roll game. Now that's gone. Now you switch everything.
Well, you could trade Capella because you want to make a move, but you got to get another big back in some way. It's so imbalanced, and Covington's the prize for them. Look, he's a better wing defender than what they're going to have, and he's going to be able to knock down shots, which is what they do.
Right.
So it's just weirdly doubling down, like just audaciously on what they do.
2 teams we haven't heard mentioned in a lot of rumors or mentioned in any trade so far, the Lakers and the Clippers. Are they part of the biggest storylines we should be following in these last 20 to 22 hours?
Yeah, for me, I think it's a 2-horse race in the West. They're in a shootout in Staples Center between the Lakers and the Clippers. Which one's going to make a tweak on the perimeter, maybe something that's a difference maker? And they're in different situations. The Clippers have this Mo Harkless contract to trade. It's $11 million. It's a one-year deal. It's clean and easy. So they could bring back anything from $5 to $15 million in money. Well, that means they could get a Derrick Rose or they could get a Marcus Morris, whichever direction they would want to go. A couple of these guys that could help you in the playoffs. The Lakers have Kuzma that they're throwing out there, but Kuzma only makes $2 million because he's on that rookie scale.
Rookie deal,
So if you got Kuzma, you got to stack a bunch of other players together to get up to a number. So while Kuzma might be the most appealing player to get in a trade, so the Lakers have a great asset, the money's what matters here, and it's hard to get that money to match in a way that's going to work and see something that translates to a deal.
Yeah, I like Kuzma for the Lakers. I think that you got to give this kid a chance to grow. If I'm the Lakers, I'm not making a move if I have to move Kuzma.
Yeah.
Maybe I wait to the buyout market and I try to jump in around that point and maybe bring a veteran in of some maybe a point guard or maybe if Iguodala gets let go of Memphis and how that situation shapes out. But I like what Kuzma brings to the table, and the fact that he was hurt at the beginning of the year and he's now being forced to play a different role. He's used to getting more touches. That takes time to adjust to. So he's a young player in this league. I wouldn't give up on him. He's very versatile.
I agree with you. Shot maker under pressure too.
In the playoffs, you need shot making.
A guy you mentioned a little bit earlier, Derrick Rose and the Detroit Pistons, they're in a situation where they're clearly sellers.